So I mean, look, I mean, it's hard to reflect when you're running 1,000 miles an hour, but you know, going into this year, you know, looking back, all right decisions, no regrets. You know, obviously there's some sacrifices that have to be made, whether it's monetarily, whether it's systems wise, whether it's staff wise. And these are hard ass decisions that people will never see behind the scenes and the chaos that happens in the head to make these decisions. But again, I don't look back. You got to look forward. And being able to go through last year, being able to be there for the agents more, being in the listing agreements and the competitive offers and the buyer side and the Zooms and on the street, everything that I set out to do was invest in more marketing, be there for the agents, has really paid off. Yeah. And obviously we'll get to real world examples, but going into this year, it's like the best organic growth, organic position to be in. We were able to get back to where we were about a couple of years ago prior to even getting into Flex and recouping some of our zip codes. Obviously, marketing is important and getting the reach out there is critical. Yeah. And supporting the agents that need support and having the systems. But from a sales perspective, we didn't lose a beat. And if anything, we got better and better. And for me, gaining more time to give it back where we need to be in that chaos, in that war, has been really beneficial. And so, this year I think is going to be harder, from a ground level, just for the mere fact that rates are coming down. It's going to be more competitive, so don't get it twisted, right? But I think what's really cool from my point of view is it's exciting to see the stress, the chaos, the war of offers, buyers left and right, like you guys, basically spinning around. But it's good to be busy because if it was easy, they wouldn't need us.
Yeah.
I'll throw it to you, Fernando. I mean, you came to us, I think, last year when we made a transition. And,
I was right there kind of at the beginning of it, and it was definitely a huge transition going from a solo agent to a team perspective. It was kind of I'm on my own, doing my own things, and kind of just jumping right into it. It was like, no, we're on it. Fast speed. And I'm kind of glad I was able to come in when I did, because I kind of see last year was kind of like a great reset for everybody in the industry. A lot of people left. A lot of agents struggled. I like to just take the blessing of being, part of One Street, where it was actually my best year in production. And it was one of the most gut-wrenching years for myself. I really had to pour everything I had to in every single deal back to back to back. But like you said, we were planting those seeds, we were putting in the work, and now, we're talking, 3 months into the year, and it's just completely blown up, just organically, naturally, nothing was forced.
Seeing your growth as a single agent, if you will, the fact that you opened up, you're asking questions and doing what you need to do, but like where you were a year ago to today, I mean, pretty incredible change.
It's honestly, it's like a night and day difference, if I'm gonna be completely transparent. Back then, I remember a year ago, I was wondering where my next deal was gonna be, and now I'm wondering, I'm like, wow, I got all this business towards me right now. Yeah, it's a little bit too much, but the good thing is that I have a good team supporting me and good leadership to help me handle that growth, and it was amazing. And just testament to that, I remember when I first heard, One Street was kind of joining with, our current brokerage. I actually joined Samson. I wanted to be at One Street first, but I was like, I wasn't ready, and I was like, let me join Samson, let me go here for a little bit while, and then try to go to One Street. And the stars aligned. When I heard that news, I was like, all right, let's do it. Everybody's going to email Sammer. Everybody's going to try to get him on the phone. I saw you post on Instagram, hey, I'm looking for an intern. I was like, I don't want to be no intern, but I want to get a conversation with this guy. I was like, yeah, tell me more. Then we started emailing back and forth. You figured out I was like, so are you trying to be an agent? I was like, yeah. I was like, I need to stand in front of this guy. I was like, it's not going to be through email. I need to see him in person. And then, I know as soon as I walked in this office the first time, I was like, yep, I'm sold. I'm here.
Do you remember, though, what I told you? If you remember this, what I told you, I'm not looking for agents. I'm looking for entrepreneurs.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And I think you probably understand that now more than ever.
Yeah, for sure. You're looking for people to build. You weren't looking people just to throw leads and do that stuff. No, you're looking for people. You're looking for superstars, guys who are going to build, guys who are going to flourish, guys who are going to take opportunities that might not be seen by everybody and turn it into something.
Yeah, I mean, I know I pushed you to the bitter brink in the wall, right? And what's good about that is that you're receptive. We all have a wall up. We don't trust. It's hard. We get people to BS us and tell us all these promises that don't happen. But you're the exact reason why I love doing what I do, right? I've pretty much accomplished everything I can accomplish. And it's not about trophies and getting a cookie and an appreciation anymore, but there is something to be said about using your skills and and using this chaos to really push yourself more
Yeah.
to help see how other people grow. But the fact, you should be very proud of yourself. I mean, I'm not really here to take any credit, but you were open-minded. You didn't let your walls and your insecurities get to you. You were, acknowledging of it. And I think that's where a lot of people in this industry, again, we're our worst nightmare.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's very hard to trust anyone in generality. So, kudos to you, but always remember what I tell you and I tell anyone. Stay humble.
100%.
Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't get caught up in the money. Don't get caught up in the deals that you haven't closed. Keep focused on the prize and try to always take a step back a little bit, because remember I told you the momentum is going to come?
Yeah, 100%.
And what are we working on now? Like 7, 10 buyers at the same time?
Like
and
7, 8 now.
Yeah, but like stay very humble.
Yeah.
And because of that momentum, when it happens, it rolls and it does not stop.
Yeah.
And you'll figure that out on your own. And I've seen it. And, that's why I try to bring it up. I'm not here to be Debbie Downer. I'm here to be the realistic hand that says, good, but keep sharpening, keep smart,
100%.
Stay organized, take a step back, take a moment, take a woosah, because you have it. And now we're sitting here the other day, you look, one thing that I really love about you is like outside of door knocking and doing this hustle, this man is out there with builders and, doing media for them. And recently it paid off for you where, we're not going to sit here and mention the names because, that's something we'll keep internal. But the fact that you came here with a great opportunity to potentially take on a lot more lead flow for yourself by cultivating a relationship with some large conglomerate billion-dollar builders in the East Coast here. And you struck that partnership and opportunity, and we were able to kind of, link up with the support that we have. But you did it. You did that by sheer grit. You did that by not sitting on your laurels. You did that by, even though I have, a million buyers and you have so much in your pipeline, you're still committed to going and attacking. That shit you cannot teach, bro. So like kudos to you, but at the same time, it's not about being excited. It's about putting the work in.
100%.
This is where the work does not stop. And this is where a big failure is also. People want to own the team. They don't want to try out, So continue that, continue the maturation. Don't compete with others. Don't size people up. Focus on your journey. Focus on your story, and just stay who you are. Whatever you're doing, being yourself is working.
Yeah.
So again, slow and steady, stay smart, and always the small details.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I definitely appreciate it. It's honestly a real testament to you and Blake too, just because I know when I was a solo agent by myself, I felt like I hit a plateau. I was like, I learned what I could by myself, and then I was craving leadership. And when I came here, that's what I got. And it was the most brutally honest and transparent leadership, but that's what I needed. I needed to be thrown in the fire to make me the best person I am. Like, I couldn't imagine taking on the type of deal flow I am today a year ago. I wasn't ready for it, and I know that's what I wanted. That's what I was trying to do and everything like that, but it just wasn't my time yet. And, even now I'm just like, I know Blake even knows, like I called him. I'm like, look, I got all this going on. I need your help. Help me organize this. How do you do it? What's your process? Learning from the guys who are doing, these big transactions, multiple clients, like how you guys juggling this? Because my main focus is to never slip on the service I'm giving my clients. That's my number one thing. Because once I lose that, I feel like I lose myself. And, that's a testament to what you're saying, consistently trying to be humble, consistently trying to sharpen my sword. And, especially regardless of the deal size, I treat, and that's something you taught me, treating every single customer, regardless if it's 200,000 or 200 million, the same. Everybody gets the same level of service, no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, look, we were sharing that on one of our sales trainings the other day where we were talking about what we learned, and that was my anxiety a long time ago too. When I was younger in the business too, I was like, oh my God, $1 million client. I'd start freaking out a little bit and getting anxiety. What do I do? What do I do? This, that. And I was like, you know what? You learned over time is like, everyone's the same. Every deal is the same. And when I was able to get my own anxiety off, because I had to learn it on my own, things got easier. And I think I also was sharing also. No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you hit on, I just wanted to touch base with you when we said something about growth, having steady growth.
Yeah.
I think the other day you threw out I think you said 20.
Yeah.
What did I tell you? I said one deal at a time. I was like, yes, can we get there? Sure.
Yeah.
But keep your head down one at a time. Don't look at that big number over in the distance.
Yeah.
We'll get there. But you've got to go one foot in front of the other. Let's not worry about the big numbers. That's going to come. That hard work will bring that. But we've got to go one deal at a time. Don't worry about that. Even when you said 10, I said 7.
Yeah.
Don't that's a big, doubling your business in a year is very tough.
100%.
And once you get near that 20 mark, half the time you need an assistant.
Yeah.
So this is where, that's why teaming up, we've done this for years.
Yeah.
Where we'll do 30, 40, 50 million with no assistance because we both can handle it because we're sharing it. And that's, where I think, we're all going in this new venture of making sure, that we can handle it together as a team within this group. And I think 20 million is actually, I think that's a low number, to be honest. Based on the connections we're going to be making and what we can push. But again, one at a time. You got to do that $450,000 one before you can move to the next one.
100%. Yeah, and it's organic. I remember people, you always thought you watch this TV shows and blah, 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 but it's all, mirage to me. But, when you start realizing you're writing your own story and your own growth is going to happen organically, when you start to quiet the noise from every angle, and it's very difficult. I sit here with no stress because in the end, I take, look, I do a lot, and and I still put a smile on my face, and I don't change my attitude no matter what, and I got to pivot in every direction to different conversations, different transactions, or problems, or whatever it is. But what's really important is when you stop competing, like I told you, when you stop worrying about numbers, and because it's normal to do that, because that's sometimes your way of saying I have certain measures, and it's okay to have goals. But when you start just focusing on what's the priorities, what really matters, which is what your profession is, and being the right partner for people. Yeah, the sky's the limit, man. Because if you learn that early, and that's the cool thing about having a group of personalities and people that have experience, is sharing that. Like you have a higher trajectory. Yeah. Right. Like we got people here doing 20 plus million, 15 million, a lot of very sharp people. But I'll pay that down the line to every single person, even including myself. But it took me gajillions of years to let that go. And once I did that, I felt more free, because you would drive around and be like, why didn't I buy that? You felt guilty you didn't do this. But like, man, it was a tug of war here in the head. Yeah. But like being able to share that with you guys and like, look, just focus on you, do you. And that's why we also created these systems to give you that more time, because we realized what's hard and where agents, abilities need to go. And we're talking about treating everyone fairly. Yes, of course. Every opportunity, every phone call, texting people back, acknowledging them. It's really critical to do that, because everyone's voicemail box is full, or they don't care, or just acknowledgement in this business is so important that people feel that you're not too busy for them. Yeah. But there's ways to get across that, right? I was talking about listing agreements or listing presentations, or I used to worry about how many agents were going to see a seller. I didn't care anymore. It took me years to figure that out. But I was like, what does it matter? Whether I'm the first, second, third, or fifth, I'm here. Focus on the stage that you have and the opportunity, who you are. We just had a listing appointment earlier today. The guy's like, why would we use you? Of course I want to say why not, but I told him I'm going to be blunt, to the point. I'm going to tell you no, but I'm going to support you on anything that you have going on. And my work ethic is guaranteed. That was it. And that secured the deal for one of our agents. And one of the things I'll share is, what's the other offers going to be like when I'm writing an offer? Well, it doesn't matter. Tell me the price that you're willing to pay that makes you walk away saying, you know what, I did my best. And I think that's really important too. Yeah. Breaking down the journey, being the rock, having the confidence. You lost, you know what? It's okay. You learned. You didn't lose, you learned. And then off to the next, off to the next. You got to be the rock. You got to be the oak tree, as we talk about. And people just want a partner. They don't need a freaking agent, And that's the cool thing about the environment we're in. Agents are going to be less and less. The better ones will really start to show, and our experience and track record will start to show.
Obviously, we've got news today that NAR, which is our National Association of Realtors, just settled a big lawsuit that they didn't want to be a part of, and they're basically putting, again, I don't know what the rest of the country's doing. They said they were forcing everybody to do 6% commissions. I don't know where that was, because we've been ahead of the curve here. Every one of our clients knows where all commission goes to buyer, to seller, and our sellers sign off on it.
Well, that's what we have. It's all part of the documents.
Right. Well, in other parts of the country, they don't follow that.
Oh, okay.
The new rule is you have to have a buyer-broker arrangement, an agreement. I'm like, that's what we've been doing that for.
Well, I think every state has its own laws, and maybe some states are ahead of the curve.
So that's why deep down, I don't think anything's going to change here. Nobody's going to go buy a $5 million house without representation. Could there be some tweaks to how the process is done, what's advertised, what's not? Yeah. This actually paves the way of not having to pay our local association anymore, because if they have their rules, we now don't have to abide by them, is what the new deal is. So It's early. We're talking 2 hours of when this came out. So there's going to be a lot of dominoes to fall. I think you're going to see a purge of agents. It's going to freak people out. I'm going to sell coach purses. I don't know what they're going to do, but they are out of here. They're not, the weekend agents are gone, because we talked about this earlier. It makes the buyer agent who has the experience, who's done hundreds and thousands of transactions, more important. Even if whoever's paying the commissions, no one's getting out of this without paying a commission. You get what you pay for. You want to pay $500 for a transaction, you're going to get $500 worth of an agent. And when you get screwed on your home inspection, your contingencies, etc., you're going to turn around and be like, I wish I would have paid $5,000 for that guy.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm always trying to find the silver lining in everything. I try to be as positive person as I can be. There's a lot of things, like I said, where it's out of our control, but it's who pivots, who understands, and who doesn't run away. And so what is going to be the takeaways? I mean, look, I always said this from years and years ago. Our business is very archaic. It's an unintelligent business, I'm sorry, because it's just so easy to get into the business. No matter how smart you are, you're still working with other people in an assembly line, which is fine. Consumers have no idea, typically, what a good broker should do for them in regards to their transaction. There's many of the buyers that sit on the sideline, after losing a couple offers because they just can't buy anymore or they just feel so stressed out. Yeah. And I'm not saying it's agent's fault, but again, we can't control who's out there, but the training, the support, all these things are out there. And you see agents, and there's a lot of talented agents that just don't get the support that they need and they pivot to a new career. So who knows? And how many buyers didn't buy because they felt a certain way. So that doesn't move the economy. But one thing that I will harp on is that the industry needs to get smarter. Harder barrier to entry. Technology came in years and years ago, and obviously, we've been big into that, but that's already pushing people out. Yeah. You don't go to court without a lawyer, and obviously there's going to be brass tacks for consumers. I do think if this thing does happen, the people that will probably be the most affected are buyer's agents. Yeah. And the commissions will probably come down. But the silver lining is, look, I got a track record, and everything that I've been teaching in this team and over the years is being multidimensional. And you guys know it firsthand. Yeah. And it's the reason why we do that is, of course, I didn't know this was going to be coming down the line, but the reason I always say be multidimensional is because you can't be pigeonholed in a box. That's why we don't say just work in one zip code or work in this market. That's how I think, at least. Yeah. Because you become more, adaptive and multidimensional and more value add, right? And so soon, if we are in a situation where buyers end up paying us as buyer's agent for a transaction.
Which they essentially already did.
Well, guess what?
With the purchase price.
Well, if that's going to be the case, and I know if I was a buyer and I'm looking for an agent, guess what? I'm not going to just press a button and just pick somebody and go meet them at the door. Yeah. I'm going to check their track record. I'm going to check their experience. What have they sold? What do they do? So all the things that we actually care about of who we are actually matter now, not just 100,000 reviews or whatever it may be. And that to me plays to our ability of where we anchored in, what we've been able to build. So I think it shines us even higher. Yeah. Because I don't know about you, man, but if you had to go get surgery, you're going to check out who that doctor is. 100%. If you need a lawyer for some specific certain thing, you're going to check that out. You may call one or two or three, right? It now becomes a testament of who the real top 1% is. Yeah. Now, again, there's time. There's associations, there's legal, there's so much to be had. And look, to be honest with you, when we list property, 99.9% of the time, the buyer's agent brings us the deal. Yeah. But I will find the silver lining. I think there's benefit in everything. And we're not going to control it. So I'm going to get over the part of being annoyed by it and start immediately digging into figuring out how we're going to use it to our advantage. Yeah. In the meantime, while it's happening, continue to operate and work, but don't be oblivious.
Agree 100%. We don't know what's going to happen. I heard, I think on your call, he mentioned something about what just came down the pipeline.
Yeah, the seller did mention that.
Right. Yeah. Well, if you want to go down this road and you don't offer a commission to a buyer's agent, who's showing your property?
Well, here's what I would. Here's my counter to him if he did say, let's say that was the case. I mean, even though it's not, but let's say he was very adamant about just paying us. I'd be like, look, do you want me to represent both sides of the table? How do you feel about me representing the buyer and the seller? Would you feel there's an ethical problem? Even though I know I could do it right, but I don't like that to be in that position. Yes, you want to make double the commission and this and that, but honestly, I've always shied away from that. Whether you give it to somebody else in your team or whatnot, But like there is going to be that feeling. And one day when it becomes the reality that this is normal, where like a seller and the listing agent brings the buyer, that becomes reality. Things will be different. Like New York was like that for a long time until Zillow and Street Easy opened up, in the boroughs, right? Where they brought buyer's agents in. But most of the country, every state is different. But, I'm not really that concerned. I think it plays to a benefit for us, but it is a lot of chaos. And, it's going to be disruption.
You're going to get a lot of misinformation, misinterpretation. And again, it's what they're, what the big takeaway they're saying is, hey, buyers, it's going to lower the price.
No, absolutely not. That is a total,
BS. That's what they're pushing. So you're going to tell me all the sellers, they're going to be, all right, I sell my house for $1 million. Typically, I'd pay $50,000, let's say, for 5%.
Yeah.
My math could be completely wrong. 50 grand. So usually split 50-50, so 25 to each side. So you're saying you want to take 975 grand? It's like, again, you're still paying commission on it. And who's the buyers? So where's this 25 grand coming from? What they'll end up doing, there's going to be a workaround where either you work it into the loan, or guess what? You're paying their commission. It'll be over 30 years because it's a part of your mortgage. Or, all right, give me we're going to go to $1 million, $25,000 credits going to that agent. There's going to be workarounds.
Yeah.
This is a business where you need representation. And you
the closing cost credit now might be the commission.
Right. What people really should have focused on, instead of agents' commissions, is worry about the local governments and their transfer taxes, their recordation taxes. Our property taxes in Montgomery County are going up every year. So again, they want to hit hardworking realtors when they should be looking at their Congress people and their local governments for saying, why don't you lower our taxes? Why are we paying more and more and more when our school systems are getting worse? Prices are too high. And again, it's not helping. It's like those are the ones that are taking your money and not us. We're working for our money.
Well, the whole environment these days, everything's going up, right? We're living in a world of everything's going up, and it's hard. Salaries can't keep up with interest rates or home prices, and people are getting priced out. And I think that's going to be the theme for a while. But is it also the agents that have ruined the business that have put us in the situation?
There's some
is it the oversight of the brokerages it goes back to the whole? There's a domino effect here. There's a waterfall. One person can ruin it all. But at the same time, I think we're all saying the same thing, which is this industry needs to be cleaned up.
100%.
And
100%.
We are doing the best we can, and we're putting the best product that we can do, and we can only control what we can do. And at the same time, that's why you have good leadership to take a step back and to learn what's happening while you continue to focus on what you need to focus on, but not be blinded by it. Like we always say, the art of war is a good thing, right? It's better to get punched knowing you're going to get punched than be blindsided by a punch that you didn't see. 100%. Right? Sun Tzu. It's probably the only one page I've ever read a book. So, but the point is, it's a cool line, but it's the truth. And so, again, I think, our industry is in for a ride.
Yeah.
I think the industry is going to be totally different the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Not only from a commission standpoint and agency deals, but you may have Alexa open the door and show the house. Agents may just get $500.
I've seen it.
I think.
The lock boxes with the voice and all that stuff. It's ridiculous.
I don't want this to happen, but agents one day may just get $500 for opening a door. And everything just gets streamlined. But again, there's something about being the top 1%, which we are. Okay, we're going to be alive and be here. And that's something I've thought about years and years and years ago. And regardless of all these new things that are coming out, but it's actually hitting. And that's why I'm totally confident. That's why I'm not bothered. That's why all I keep thinking about is like having time to review and see. But like I stand firm in the quality of who we are and the product that we have, that all of this to me, there'll be a benefit in some capacity.
Yeah.
But the industry needs a shake up anyway.
100%.
The smaller brokerages like us will be able to pivot. We'll be able to make the move. The large, archaic brokerages where the average age is 55, 60 years old.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to pivot. They're not going to embrace the new technology, the new ways. That's going to come out of this.
Yeah.
Again, everybody's having a knee-jerk reaction, which is completely normal.
It reminds me of the agents that say, I don't give a credit. You know what I'm talking about? This just made me think about that. It's like, I don't give credits.
Right.
Anyways, I'm just thinking about that.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Right. There's always going to be a change. The older agents that were on the brink of retirement, they're out. They're done. The weekend warriors, the ones who do 1 to 5 deals a year, they're out.
Yeah.
They're not doing this, So it's it's going to be interesting. But I do think it's. I mean, we've talked about change has always been knocking on the door.
I've always thrived in it. So
I tell everybody who comes in, this is the easiest business in the world. Mm-hmm. But what we provide is the advice and the service is what's not the easy. That you either do it or you don't. If you have sloppy agents, sloppy offers, that's a problem. But people who are organized, who are catching it before the other agent or before, especially your client. We always say, if your client's calling you for an update, you failed.
Yeah.
So staying ahead of it.
Well, look, I think the future of real estate outside of, obviously potentially commissions coming down and, obviously the business, being reshaped, I think teams are going to get larger. And I think, consolidation is always going to be a key, right? And, right now, there's so many good agents that have, whether they have multiple licenses, they have good track records, but a lot of them are living off Sphere. And it's okay. But friends and family aren't buying a house every day.
Yeah.
And at some point, to be honest with you, as inventory dries up, if you're a team lead that is buying leads and you're taking all the leads, at some point you're not giving, which is nothing bad about that. But at some point, that fifth agent, sixth agent, seventh agent, it's going to be cut out. And there is going to be a exodus and a movement. And it's happening now, but you'll see it at a higher clip. But there's a lot of talent in the streets, and they will find their way to the right places. And I think this year is the year of a continuation of growth and anchoring in and rewarding the people that are working their ass off. But I think overall, our industry is headed for a huge, upheaval. And it's warranted and it's deserved. And I think across the board, it's going to, from banks to title companies to everybody in this ecosystem. So it's like buckle up and see. But that's why I'm, again, sitting here confidently like, okay, bring it. Because it's the ones who are the true warriors that are going to survive. And we want that. Bring it. Not scared at all.
Yeah, for sure. Even more on my perspective as a younger guy in this industry who's predominantly a buyer's agent. That's kind of most of my business. I think, it's definitely my group that's going to be affected. But to be honest, like you said, I'm not scared specifically because I do think that this is a change, not going about it the right way, but this is going to shake the tree. This is going to bring people who don't take this job seriously, who are not servicing their clients the way they should, out the industry. Because I'm used to being the third, second agent and hearing how people get burned, people get stuck with an agent who are not putting them as priority, and they're losing deals specifically because their agent doesn't know what they're doing. I was able to do what they couldn't do in 6 months in a month. And I think this is necessary. I think this is going to take a lot of people out. This is going to bring a new shift. This is going to tighten up competition as well, but also make things run a little bit smoother because we're going to have more competent agents, people who know what they're doing, working with each other to, have smoother deal flow.
What the irony is of this whole thing? It's like, I've been at this for 2.5 decades, and it's like, this is the biggest investment anyone can buy, and with the most money lent to it.
Yeah.
And it's like 2024, and now we're talking about some disruption. Look, I'm not complaining, but if you think about it, the irony of it is insane.
Yeah.
Fine, I get the banking industry got, had a big disruption for the last whatever years and after the financial crisis. But you talk about being a free-for-all cowboy wild, wild west, this is the business for it. But what took so long? Whatever. It is what it is. But again, remember what we talked about. You can control what you can control, whether on every level, and take it in stride, and we'll be better for it, and we'll find the right path that benefits us at the end of the day. 100%. I think sharpening our tools, knowing the market, knowing who you are, staying organized, staying positive, not carrying over any drama into the next transaction or the next person. Having a clean mindset. But it will just get better. The rates are going to keep coming down. It's going to get busier and busier. We have a new election coming up. That's another topic. That's a huge exodus out and exodus in, or maybe not an exodus. Maybe it's the same administration. Who knows? But typically, if there's going to be change, there's going to be a lot of change. And I'm very bullish that the fact that we live in D.C. and I always call it the Vatican because it's a small little niche. That through tried and tested, it's always here. And right now, I wouldn't want to do real estate really in any other place. And we're blessed to have 3 different states that we can hit up, and we have a down South Florida where a lot of people like to go to as well, which is really cool. And again, it's exciting times to be in this business and watch these changes and things that you've thought about in your mind, and be able to share that and collaborate about it. And again, having no fear is pretty, a lot of strength there.
Yeah. And definitely, since we have 3 markets, I mean, I think being an agent in DMV is kind of very unique, because I don't really know anywhere else where you're licensed in 3 states, where it's very common, where you have 3 different real estate markets.
Yeah, it could have like New York and New Jersey possibly, and
that's
things like that.
probably
But
it.
a lot of some people have the Florida,
Yeah.
the New York, and the California, because definitely the high ends and whatnot. But look, I mean, you know what's funny? You should talk about is the TikTok ban.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, look, when I had some interns here a couple years ago, God bless them, got me into TikTok, and it was cool, just to kind of do some social media and whatnot. But like, I mean, you're the younger generation. I mean, what do you think of that? I mean, you use TikTok?
Yeah, I think everybody who's my age group and below, we're so dependent on it. I think TikTok, at a certain point, I started searching things on TikTok before I do on Google. That's how dependent my generation is on TikTok. I mean, if they ban it, on our perspective of real estate, I mean, it definitely changes a lot of things, just because there's a lot of realtors who are dependent on TikTok for.
So you think TikTok actually does help promote stuff? And
I do think, and that's kind of the good thing about TikTok with the algorithms and things like that. It does help. I've seen it myself. I picked up a client from TikTok, 1 or 2. I wouldn't say it's a whole big thing, but with that being said, I don't think I've invested like other agents where they're doing it every day. It's basically like a second job.
So I mean, this is just all political. I mean, I don't want to get too much into politics here, but couldn't we just build our own TikTok in America then, I guess?
Well, that's what they want. They, again, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank came out. And he even said,
perpetuity.
Yeah.
Like he said, he goes, I mean, I don't know if it was him, but somebody else. I'd love to know how much money the Facebook and Instagram lobbyists are getting to push. Because this is not, for data. Our data has been taken every day. Our phones right now are listening to us.
100%.
Google
I get ads every second on my TV or my phone or my computer, or just saying about anything.
This is about control. This is about they want to control it here in the U.S. I thought I heard that Oracle stores all the data anyway from TikTok. It's in Texas. Yeah. So again, it's not what they're telling us. This is about control. This is about
everything about control?
This is about Facebook and Instagram saying we're losing share. We need that back. And here we go. Because I mean, I love TikTok's great. Yeah, it's good. It's good entertainment.
It's brain rotting too.
It's terrible for. I mean, you go down a rabbit hole, you're there for hours. But it does. I don't. It's funny. So for real estate, I look at it as a great. I look at homes in Italy, in the Caribbean. I don't do anything. I don't care about
you
my
like
market.
international real estate.
I'm looking at what they have out there. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
But it's news that is available immediately.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be the issue. And I mean, we've again, not getting political. There's been people shutting things down depending on what side you are. And I think TikTok does they're not shutting anybody down.
Yeah.
You can do anything you want.
Yeah, but there's also VPNs and all these different things you can still have it. So there'll always be ways. But let's see what happens with that. But
the thing is,
I'm either way.
I don't see it happening. It's not getting through. It's not getting through the Senate. There's not. Again, a lot of people are gonna have to get paid a lot of money for this to go through.
Yeah.
So I don't put it past them. But in the end, you're shrinking your First Amendment right. You're shrinking what's available to the masses, and it's not gonna fly.
Yeah.
All right, so
this is a money play.
So let's. So I guess we'll end it with let's use TikTok as much as possible before it goes away.
Yeah, let's use it while we have it.
Another hot topic. I'm sure people want to hear about is rates. I mean, I'll start it off with. Look, rates were super low in COVID. I don't think about 20 and 21 anymore, even though we all refinanced a million times and we benefited from it. I don't think rates will come down to that level again, but here nor there, rates went up, obviously, which creates a downward pressure on listings, which creates the inventory issue. We already had inventory issues even prior to COVID.
Yeah.
And it's just going to get worse and worse as time goes on because, it's not like you're buying a new double the price house with double the rate. But rates have been stable. They've been coming down. It looks like we'll probably see some hopefully rate cuts based on what we watch on TV. And
right before the election.
Yeah, sure. But with that being said, I think we're all firm believers that right now it's steady, and I don't think we're going to see an uptick.
Yeah.
More of a downtick, and moreover, what does that mean though? It means that more buyers will come. I've already seen house appreciation. It's obscene, the house appreciation, and a lot of people are also getting priced out of the market because houses are going up through the roof. 60 offers the other day we had. There's 59 buyers waiting on the sideline for the same neighborhood. Like that's the thing. It's just like a build up, a build up, a build up.
Yeah.
Even if you cut out 80% of them, you still have 10 left or 20 left or whatever it is.
Right. It's what I mean. People are the savvy buyers buying today, knowing I'm going to either which we all love to say is refi. Well, refis aren't free; they're not cheap. But what people aren't talking about is recasting their loan.
Yeah.
Which, if a smart buyer with a smart agent, it's funny. So I went to a listing appointment the other day, and for some reason, two police officers escorted me there because it's an investment property and there's tenants in there. And my client didn't know if there was going to be some disagreement with me coming in. So they're there, we get to talking, and it's just, I mentioned recasting, and he said, what is that? And I said, well, it's something that most lenders don't want to tell you because you don't have to go and you don't have to do all the paperwork. They don't make as much money. Okay. So when you recast, they automatically can drop your rate for you, and then it's recalculated. There you go. It's easy. Well, I know one of our partner lenders will give you up till, I think, is it 1 or 2 years that he'll recast it, no charge, one time. Lenders will do this. You just have to ask them.
So one thing that people don't realize too about refinancing homes is that let's say you had you have 25 years left on your mortgage or whatever it may be. Just always remember this, and people don't think of this way. Okay, my rate went down, but then you just add another 30 years to it, right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You not only reset, okay, fine, the rate came down, but then you reset it. But then if you look at the real amortization table, and you have to see it first, right? Just me going off the cuff. But look at how much interest in the first couple of years is going versus the principal. I'm just saying is the rate comes down.
I don't even like looking at.
But I mean, people. This is a small tip, and you hear this loud and clear.
Yeah.
If you're refinancing, look at your amortization table, and you'll notice potentially that you're still paying more interest on the first amount of years than principal. So would you have been better off staying where you are with that rate? So that's something important before you make that decision to refi. It's not just getting the 0.5% less or the 1 point less. Fine, your payment might be cheaper, but are you just still paying more interest than principal?
People don't talk about that.
That's something important.
I mean, you have to think a $500,000 purchase price, you're paying like $850 to $950 overall.
People don't know that.
Like you're
with you, but I think no one really talks about what I just said.
Correct.
And
they're not looking at the big picture.
No, I mean, even myself. I mean, it took me a while to learn when I started seeing it. I'm like, holy crap! Wait a minute, I'm still. Like, it depends. It's obviously there's a lot of variables. How long am I going to be in the house for? What matters? What am I doing with that extra cash flow? I mean, there's ways to leverage, but we're not sitting here. Everyone's so savvy.
But one thing that I actually learned recently that kind of I think lenders are trying to sneak by people. I've been giving this tip to my buyers. When you get your mortgage payment, split it in two. Pay the same amount every single month, but just split it in two. Just turn it to bi-weekly payments. That way, it's compounding interest. I did it with my brother did on his property. His servicer said you'll pay off your property 6 years earlier. Then he's not doing anything. He's not paying any extra money. But I just went to a settlement table and they made my clients, their lender, made them sign an agreement saying that they're not allowed to do that, to split their payments.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that, but like we're talking about cutting down mortgages. There's always there's a path where you make typically a lot of people pay an extra principal payment at the end of the year, and they cut it from 30 to 17. But these are great things for consumers to talk to their local lenders, talk to their bankers, and people don't really read anything. They just sign, and call it a day. But there's always tricks of the trade. But the average person stays in a home between 5 and 7 years, if not less. Mm-hmm. And these days it might be longer just due to the fact of the rates. But let's pivot a little bit. Tax season's here, right? April 15th is coming around the corner. I don't know if that's still the date. Uncle Sam, Auntie Sam, Samantha, whatever you want to call.
Favorite time of year.
It's important. But one topic we had from previous was about real estate taxes.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you're a homeowner, you're typically paying principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, and that's called PITI, right? So that's already being handled for you. Whether when you close, you're paying taxes, and then you're paying it obviously in your payment as they build a reserve and escrow for you. Yeah. And then a lot of investors sometimes are paying, they pay 1 year in advance typically, or they pro rata, whatever it is. And sometimes people are paying it separately.
Yeah.
So you just got to make sure that, obviously when you're buying a home, you typically are afforded to know what that is. And typically it's a write-off. But, I tell any homeowner these days is, I'm not a CPA, nor are you guys, but, get a good CPA.
Yeah,
make sure someone knows what's going on, because now with rates being higher, usually you can only write off under $750 if it's a primary. There's depreciation, and maybe if it's an investment. If you're working from home as a home office, utilities, property management. There's so much involved that where, people these days, yes, are paying a skyrocket amount of expenses for stuff.
Yeah.
But, think about getting a professional if you're a homeowner or a soon-to-be homeowner, because a lot of times, doing your taxes on your own may not be a benefit, but there are ways to save money. But something we're just throwing out to the world, if you're out there buying a home or own a home, try to focus on an expert, even just get an opinion, even if you don't use it. So just, we had a question from the masses. You guys use CPAs?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do for the LLCs, business, stuff like that. And I always recommend my clients, especially at this time, if you're trying to get pre-approval all the time, you're going to be doing filing and doing your taxes, get with a CPA. Just because if you don't file your stuff properly, it can affect your pre-approval amount. Yeah. That's the one thing that people don't take in consideration. It was like, oh, but I make this much money. I'm like, but you wrote off all this amount. So that shows that what you're bringing home is a lot less. We can't qualify you for the property that you want. And I feel like that information is just not spread out to the masses a lot. And I think a CPA is definitely a really big asset.
Well, you touch on a point where, the sad part of, you seeing the wealth gap go like this.
Yeah.
And, what's sad is, and unfortunately, this is what you teach your son, your kids, whoever, and, your staff. But, not everyone gets information.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part. And, obviously, we're teachers, right? We're breaking down people's walls and barriers, and we're teaching them the best we can. But information is just not shared.
Yeah.
And it's sad. And, I've learned real estate, obviously taught me a lot from the street level to the book level to whatever level you want to talk about. But there's so much that people don't understand at all. Yeah. Even if you're a W-2 employee, again, take it for the surface level, but you can look at your deductions. Maybe you're getting too many deductions taken out and you need that extra couple $100 back to your net paycheck. So that's something people don't really think about. 100%. That's something, talk to your loan officer about it, but maybe you don't need to put so much into this and need more cash flow. Maybe that helps your debt to income ratios. There's so many little nuances that this is where you become good at this business, is the small details. Selling a house is easy. You open the door, they like it, they don't, right? You don't ask them what they like, you tell them what they don't like so you can learn more about them, right?
Yeah.
And then it's about dealing with the problems and the obstacles. That's the key to this business. Or they don't freaking need us. It's pointless.
What did I say the other day? What we're certified, glorified problem solvers. Yeah. That's exactly what we do.
Adult daycares, firemen, lawyers, therapists, waiters.
I tell my clients all the time, don't tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like.
Yeah, super important.
Of course, we all like the updated kitchen, the steam shift. We all like that. But what do you not like?
Yeah.
And then we can kind of guide you better.
It's funny because I go to a restaurant sometimes and I'll be like, how's the food? I'm like, it's terrible. And I just want to see the reaction. A lot of waiters will be like, oh, that's good, because they didn't listen. But it just shows you catch people off guard. But, again, I think it's a great point. But look, guys, I think, we went over a lot of things today. One, just to kind of recap, the environment's changing. We're on top of it. No fear.
Yeah.
It's just knowledge is power. Sharing it, waterfalling it, not keeping things to the breast. And, that's kind of what we're good at.
Yeah.
I think information these days is a value add. The work ethic is a value add, and really taking care of the consumer and building, something special, right? Mm-hmm. I think we'll continue to evolve. And I think our talents will shine. Not that we need shine. I kind of like being the ninja behind the scenes, but it's important that, like I said, there's a confidence to the consumer base. Consumer base needs to know there are people out there that do care about their craft, and that are professional, and that will put them first. And it looks like there's a lot of noise with the governments and political environment that we're going to deal with, but we'll deal with it. For now, we stay in our lane, we do what we do, we continue doing what we do best, and keep rocking and rolling, right?
That's what we do.
Rates are rates, politics are politics, but guess what? Being ourselves is free, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So again, I want to thank both of you for all the time and effort and the hustle that you guys put in, keeping me on my toes and giving me a reason to keep getting up every day and having that six shots of coffee. Again, congrats on everything, and
I appreciate
it's just the beginning.
Yeah.
Keep rolling what you're doing.
100%.
Okay, you too, big boy.
Okay. I follow wherever you go. I'm not far behind, bud. So
and then,
when things get tough, I'm going to be right with you. So.
Yeah, man. Well, you know what? I enjoy it tough, because if it's easy, it would be too boring.
Yeah, 100%.
Everyone that's listening here, enjoy your year, enjoy the spring, buckle up. It's going to be an epic ride.
Yeah, 100%.
Peace.